Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our witnesses for your willingness to serve. General Nakasone, the organization you are nominated to lead, Cyber Command, was given the job of countering ISIS efforts to use the internet to recruit, to spread its ideology, to move money, to coordinate its forces. Former Deputy Secretary of Defense Bob Work described Cybercom's efforts to stop ISIS as, quote, dropping cyber bombs. And judging by public reporting, we were at least somewhat successful in this effort. But while we were focused on ISIS, Russia was using the same technology to undermine our democracy here at home. From what I understand, this was not an especially expensive or technologically sophisticated effort. It was a unit of hackers that were amplified by a troll factory in Moscow, and yet U.S. defenses were totally inadequate. General, what can we learn from our operations against ISIS that we can apply to efforts to protect and defend against Russian-style cyber attacks moving forward?
First thing I would offer, Senator, what we have learned in the battle against ISIS is that rapidly you have to be able to change your methodologies. We started slow against ISIS and didn't have a lot of tremendous success early on. But then the momentum picked up as we continued to operate in cyberspace, understand the intelligence, understand the targeting, understand the capabilities that had to be developed. The second thing that I would offer, Senator, that I have personally learned is the power of information. So how do you provide impact to an adversary that no longer holds geographic terrain? It's a messaging component that we were able to work, particularly in support of U.S. Central Command and U.S. Special Operations Command, the task force. But bringing this ability to amplify a message to an adversary is able to counteract what they're able to do.
Well, thank you, General. You know, it's deeply disturbing that you start your answer by saying it's important that we act with speed when we're sitting here more than a year after it has become widely known that Russia hacked into American election systems to try to influence the election, and we still have not taken aggressive action. You know, I understand that the Department of Homeland Security is the lead agency for election security, but General, if confirmed, you will command the most elite cybersecurity professionals in our government. And a key part of your mission will be to defend the United States and its interests against cyber attacks of significant consequence. As a result, I'm concerned that an attack on our democratic processes meets this definition of significant. So, General, if confirmed, what are you prepared to do to make sure that the U.S. is prepared to defend against Russian-style cyber attacks designed to interfere in the 2018 and 2020 elections?
So, Senator, if confirmed, my initial actions would be, what are the options that I might be able to provide to the Secretary of Defense and the President that might be utilized when a decision is made to counteract what an adversary has done to our nation.
So you're telling me we're just we don't even have a decision to respond yet? Is that what you just said?
So, Senator, what I said is that in terms of being confirmed with regards to the authorities that I would have that are existent today would be to provide a series of options upon which the Secretary of Defense or President could leverage in response to an adversary's actions.
Well, I think it's clear that we need to be vigilant to prevent this from ever happening again. And if confirmed, we're going to need you, General, to help lead this fight. Let me ask one more question about cyber readiness. In the 2017 Defense Authorization Bill, this committee directed the Pentagon to elevate Cyber Command as an independent, standalone command and gave you some unique service-like authorities to train and equip your own force. The only other combatant command that has similar authorities is the Special Operations Command, but it took SOCOM many years to grow that responsibility and to begin effectively executing on those authorities. Given the cyber threats that we face, General, I'm concerned that we don't have the luxury of waiting years for Cybercom to be able to do the same. So let me ask, if confirmed, what is your plan for maturing the Cybercom operation to accomplish the functions that the military services currently provide? And what does your timeline look like? I realize we're out of time, but if you can have just a little bit to answer here.
So, Senator, I think that we should begin with what have we learned from SOCOM in understanding how they've been able to utilize these service-like authorities. What are the things that would be able to transfer to U.S. Cyber Command, if confirmed, that I could leverage? In terms of a timeline, I can't give you a timeline in terms of my experience to date. That's something I would say I would need to assess, if confirmed, to come back and have that discussion with the committee.
Well, I can't underline the urgency of the moment. We know that the Russians hacked us in 2016, and they're coming back after us in 2018. We can't let the perfect be the enemy of the good here. We've got to move. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.